I got very sick on the vegan diet. So we nixed that.
Are you surprised about that, Mark? I'm not surprised.
Your stomach flares up and you end up getting a lot of pain, and then what happens is your health it deteriorates. And
Yeah.
you have to understand that when it comes to healthy hormones, we actually don't need any carbohydrates at all. We need fats to promote good hormones.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 124 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is your weekly dose of entertainment, inspiration, and education to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. Today we have Jordan Boughner. She is a wonderful friend of ours, a carnivore supermom, you might want to call her. Close friend and client from Palm Beach, Florida, currently lean bulking on a meat-based diet, just like Coach Mark from Ireland, who we also have. Hello, Coach Mark.
Hello, sir.
He's getting ready for his first show this year, and Jordan's been experiencing, I guess we could say, some ups and downs that I'll let her fill in everyone in on in just a second. We're going to take a deep dive into her meal plan, her training protocol, and discuss what needs to change moving forward into her next phase. If you have not heard of Coach Mark, then you should totally check him out on episodes 120 and episode 122, where we went over Susi and Wendy's diets and training. He's back once again offering his time as a second set of eyes, making sure that Jordan's training isn't just working for her aesthetic goals, but more importantly, that her long-term health continues to improve. Jordan, welcome to your first podcast. I'm going to turn things over to you to start, but is it okay if we pray first? Is that cool with everybody?
Absolutely, definitely.
Awesome. So Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint." Heavenly Father, Lord of hosts, thank you for Coach Mark and his wisdom. May the experience that you've empowered him with be a blessing to Jordan and to all of our listeners. May she continue to renew her strength, and may the three of us soar like eagles this year in a way that glorifies you. Bless our words, this conversation, and the ears and hearts of everyone that hears it. Amen. Jordan.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Yeah,
Thrilled to have you here too.
Awesome.
So before you and your husband Gabe reached out to Taylor and I about coaching, could you please just kind of summarize for Coach Mark what you've been going through lately?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thin my entire life. I had a sensitive stomach as a child. I'd go out to eat and immediately have messed up stomach type situations, and definitely carried that over into adulthood. I had some happy reprieves whenever I was pregnant with my two children and could eat whatever I wanted, and had massive babies because of it. um, but yeah, so a couple years, well, back in 2021, I think was really whenever things got bad for me. I stopped breastfeeding my third child. I had been nursing her for 2 years. I had stopped nursing her, and within a month or two of stopping that, I got COVID pretty bad. And then I actually had an IUD that got implanted into my uterus and had to have an emergency surgery to get rid of it. It was a copper IUD, and for the first time in my life, my thyroid levels were off after the IUD incident happened. I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight nursing this go around. I'm normally in my life have been around 111 weight wise, between like 111, 110, kind of, fluctuating between above and below that weight range. And after I had my third baby, after nursing her, I was pretty low in weight. And then I got really sick. And then I had the really horrible IUD incident that happened that messed with my hormones. And I was down to 98 pounds. My doctor at the time was concerned for my weight. She said, you need to put on some muscle, so you can support your bones. and just, it's good to have some extra fat laying around in case you get sick again. And
Mm.
so from 2021 until the next year, I worked really hard trying to gain weight. Gabe and I both have had gut and weight issues our entire marriage. We've been married almost 14 years. And once we hit our late 20s, we really started taking our diet seriously, and we've tried everything. We went vegetarian first because that's your first type of information whenever you Google in information, Google in, hey, what's the best diet? You get the vegan, vegetarian propaganda. And so we did. We tried vegetarian and it wasn't working for either of us. So we went vegan and I got very sick on the vegan diet. So we nixed that.
Are you surprised about that, Mark? I'm not surprised.
No.
Yeah, my doctor literally was pleading to me to not eat vegan. She was like, "This is like the worst diet ever. Please do not ever eat like this." So I was surprised to get that information, but we tried keto, we tried the wild diet, paleo, like everything we tried. I did have a lot of luck on paleo. Anyways, flash forward to 2021 when I got really sick and had, the circumstances in 2021. I I got rid of gluten because I did notice that gluten was making my stomach upset. I have always limited dairy because dairy has, since childhood, especially creams and like heavy milks, have upset my stomach. I mean, I swallow it and it starts from like right here down. I can feel it in my digestive system. But I've always been okay with butter and a little bit of cheese. And eggs too, actually. I've always eaten a lot of eggs. Except when I was vegan. But yeah, so this past year, my stomach has gotten worse the more I've tried to gain weight, and I started doing heavy lifting about, I would say probably April of 2022. I started doing heavy lifting instead of Pilates and walking, which is what I had done most of my adult life for exercise. And again, I think we had mentioned earlier, I'm a mom, I'm homeschool, I'm on my feet all day long. We go on walks. I try and get them outside. We go to parks constantly. We're outdoors all the time. So I'm very active. I have a very active lifestyle. It's not sedentary by any means. So I never felt the need to do a lot of cardio in my workouts. Anyways, I started heavy lifting April 2022, and I started upping my protein, but I still was eating carbs, but not many. So I was eating basically rice, potatoes, sweet sweet potatoes, and regular potatoes and meat. That was primarily my diet for about 8 months. And I was able to put on weight. I went from 98 pounds to 108 pounds in a year. And I got rid of some other bad habits. Like I did stop drinking as much. It took me a really long time to realize that whiskey had gluten in it. I don't know why I never made the connection, but once I did, my stomach got better after I stopped drinking whiskey and just limited my caffeine intake and coffee intake. And honestly, we were doing pretty good, but we've had a really stressful year. We made a move from one state to another. We had a big death in our family of someone we were very close with. And Gabe's had some health setbacks that were very stressful and scary. And it's just been a crazy year. And so from November until January, I started losing the weight again. Um, I wasn't lifting as much, but I was doing it when I could. And I started eating other things besides, just rice, potatoes. We would do like taco night and I would get gluten-free options, that sort of thing. And January came around after Christmas and I got really, really sick. My lymph nodes in my neck started to swell up. I was running fevers, I went to the doctor and they put me on a steroid, which I had a very, very bad reaction to. And I started getting anxiety attacks within 24 hours of taking it. I had insomnia for 3 weeks. All normal side effects from a steroid for some people. I can't take it, and I didn't know that. And then they put me on an antibiotic as well, for just I apparently had a double ear infection at some point. And the whole month of January, between loss of sleep, being on heavy medications, being severely dehydrated, I ended up going down to 91 pounds, and the whole month is a total blur to me. Um, so Gabe had reached out to Colt, for his help, because he has other things going on that, maybe you can bring him on to talk about those things sometime as well.
Yeah, we got to do a
And
Gabe episode too, for sure.
yeah, he's got a great story and
As long as we don't
he's,
talk about Star Wars or end times
oh my
prophecy
gosh,
on
please,
topic.
absolutely. You'd get totally derailed. But he's much smarter than I am, much more knowledgeable about all this stuff. So you definitely got to bring him on. But anyways, it came up for me to also get some help as well, because we were pretty scared at where my state of health was, a month ago. And yeah, so that's kind of where we were at. I will say, something that's interesting is this past year, it helped me tremendously, I think, upping my protein and fats, because I did have my blood work tested in January and my thyroid was completely normal again. So I think that made a massive difference.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so here I am.
because you've already had even before you me and Gabe talked, you had a bit of a running start as far as seeing some success from the carnivore diet and from a meat-based diet, just kind of starting it yourself and fixing
Yeah,
fixing your thyroid first. So good.
exactly. And that was my biggest concern. I feel like the copper IUD messed with all of my nutrient levels. I think I did have a touch of copper toxicity, and my hormones were messed with. Mark, this, obviously, once your hormones get messed with, everything sort of is messed with. So I was really happy to find out, when my blood work came back in January, that my thyroid was good. And actually, all of my blood work was great, even though I was just really sick. So yeah.
Yeah, I think what happens usually when this happens is when your body goes through an awful lot of inflammation. This is what happens in the gut. It's like your stomach's like it's like your stomach flares up and you end up getting a lot of pain. And then what happens is your health it deteriorates. And
Yeah.
you have to understand that when it comes to healthy hormones, we actually don't need any carbohydrates at all. We need fats to promote good hormones. So when it comes to a woman's menstrual cycle or a thyroid issue, women will tend to go the opposite route. They'll probably increase their carbohydrates and they'll bring their fats to like minimal, and their proteins will be minimal as well. But what happens there is when you increase that carbohydrate intake, you're increasing your insulin spikes.
Mm,
So what's happening is it's actually doing more damage to the gut than actual good. And
wow.
that's what it sounds to me, that throughout the years you were still eating like a carbohydrate food, whether it was a vegetable, whether it was coming from processed food, whether it was coming from complex food, you were still getting some sort of carbohydrate. And this is the reason why you were having the gut issues from year to year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes
You know,
sense for sure.
because see,
Um,
when you add the carnivore like food plan with a heavy lifting plan as well, what's going to happen is it's gonna promote healthy hormones, but it's also going to promote healthy gut function, which is going to get the bowels to move a lot faster. So
mm,
once the bowels move, then obviously the food in your stomach is going to digest a lot faster.
mm, yeah, yeah,
And once that happens, then that means you've got more energy and you're in lesser pain then.
yeah, absolutely. It's funny because on Thanksgiving, um, I had fruits and vegetables, which I don't normally eat, and it sent me into a really bad gut flare up. And
Mm.
that's whenever I tried carnivore for the first time. And within 24 hours of just eating meats and fats, my flare up went away completely. So it was the only thing that's ever taken me out of a flare up like that,
Mm.
was switching like that to carnivore, basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think for everybody, we should be all striving for number one, to have healthy hormones, Number two, to have as much energy as much as possible. You know what I mean? And to reduce inflammation. Inflammation is such a big thing because this can affect pretty much joints, knee pain, back pain, gut pain, headaches. It pretty much affects everything. And I've always said that if you have a healthy gut, you're going to have a healthy mind. And if you've got a healthy mind, you're going to have a healthy gut. So if those two work hand in hand, you're going to be onto a winner going forward.
Sounds good.
But if you're putting in the wrong food into your body and you're just saying, right, I'm putting this food into my stomach, I guarantee you that will affect your performance then in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're not going to feel good. You know what I mean? You're going to walk in the gym, you're going to be bloated, you're going to be lethargic, you're going to be gassy, and that energy is just not going to be there.
Right.
And then eventually, then if you keep on doing this, the anxiety will kick in, the depression will start kicking in, and then you'll put an awful lot of stress on yourself, saying like, this is just not working for me.
Yeah.
Whereas if we just focused on the nutrition part, fix that part first, fix the gut, and once that energy starts coming up very, very quickly, then you're able to do a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Definitely.
So you think so should we go into her workouts first then, you think, Mark, and talk about like what she's doing?
Yeah, because just one other question. How's the diet going for you now? Is everything good now in regards to everything good?
So when we first started 3 weeks ago, I it was, pretty much all meat or animal based, except I was having sweet potato at nighttime. And my gut honestly was the best it had been in months.
Yeah.
My bowel movements were normal. There was no bloating. There was no sharp pains. And then this past week, I got rid of the sweet potatoes, and
Mhm.
I know that my body was trying to adjust um, to the diet of just being strictly carnivore, but it wrecked me horribly. I started bloating, I started getting the sharp pains, I started having, diarrhea like several times a day. It was actually so bad this week that I couldn't like even leave my house for a long period of time because I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna get to the bathroom in time. And I've heard and read that that might be normal for like an adjustment period, but I mean, after several days of it, like my body was just so worn out that I'm like, I can't do this right now, especially since I've had like a, upper respiratory thing going on again. So I sort of like had to wave my white flag. Like I need to bring the sweet potatoes back for at least, I don't know, maybe until I get over the sickness or what, but my stomach didn't handle it really well and it was pretty painful. So
So she's
Yeah.
basically on a strict paleo diet right now, and her calories are boy, after my interview with Bart with Bart K, I don't even want to talk about calories anymore because yeah, let's talk more in terms of protein and fat right now, macronutrient ratios, because I have been experiencing this too. When you go back and forth from high protein to high fat, it changes, and I'm not seeing a strong correlation with calories. So anyway, Mark, you and I can debunk that later. But her numbers have been around 170 grams of protein. And so there's a lot of gluconeogenesis happening right now, which may be contributing to some inflammation. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are there. And her fats have been around 150. So for her next phase, what I just typed out now is for her to be at 120 grams of protein and 220 grams of fat. And the sweet potato is the question mark. That's kind of as neat if we should throw that on the end or not. But that'll put her at about 70% of her calories, 70 to 80% of her calories coming from fat at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think she needs to, if she's going to be in ketosis, then she needs to be on a higher she needs to be on a higher fat intake than protein. I think 170 grams of protein is extremely high for somebody that's just under 110. Is that correct? She's on 109 pounds at the moment.
102.
Yep.
102. Yeah, I
So
think
it's close to Mark. Yeah. Sorry. One more thing is that so that's yeah basically close to double her body weight in terms of grams per pound of protein. This is a this is not long term. This is about a
I
month
know.
away.
Yeah,
You're going to be
yeah,
doing this
yeah.
before. Yeah. Okay. So you and I know that. Anyway, just want to throw in that context. All right. So now I know. Yeah. Now I want to know what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, so the protein, I would make sure, as I said, it's just pretty much like if you're gonna do like ratios, I
Yeah.
would probably stick to around 70% fat and around 30% protein. I think that's ideal. I think that's a perfect sweet spot because at the moment, what we're looking for here is we need to be fat adapted, and we also need to make sure the body's in ketosis
Okay.
because what she needs is she needs to be increasing her energy levels. Now, the only way she's going to be increasing her energy levels if we have a higher fat intake. If we have a higher protein intake, that's gonna affect digestion. If it starts affecting digestion, it will start affecting the brain, and if it starts affecting the brain, then everything else is going to go downhill from then.
Hmm.
So with the protein, when it comes to keto, I personally believe that when you're trying to build muscle, yes, we can probably do it on probably a little bit higher protein, but I would never go any higher than fat. I would always make sure the fat macros are always higher than the protein macros. So if I am going to be like bulking or whatever, I would probably bulk my protein up to around 35, maybe 40%, but I would make sure that the other 60% is just come from fats. And then I'm probably going to add in some net carbs, probably about 10 grams, very, very little. If I need them. If my body doesn't need them, then I won't add them in. I'll just stick to protein and fat. My body will tell me as I go along how I'm feeling. If my body says to me, I'm waking up every day, I'm full of energy, I can't wait to go to the gym, I'm getting stronger, and everything is sweet, well then I don't need to do anything with my macros whatsoever. It's just about increasing them or decreasing them. Whether it depends on what your goals are, whether you're in a surplus or whether you're trying to lose weight. Now we're trying to be in a surplus, but what we're trying to do now is we're trying to increase the energy first, and we're trying to make sure the digestion is on point every single day. So I would personally decrease the protein down to around 30% and have a higher fat intake of around 65, 70% going forward.
Hmm.
Okay. So her ratios now are going to be, yeah, 29% and 70%.
Yeah. Yeah, 70% fat. Now, I would say also, if you have a dairy allergy, then obviously those fats are going to be a little bit harder to get in because you're obviously going to have like oils or avocados or stuff like that. I'm the same boat at the moment. I have a dairy allergy, so I can't
Okay.
have like cheese or eggs or stuff like that. So I have to like rely heavily on like Colt has me on chicken thighs at the moment, which is very, very high in fat.
Yeah.
I add in coconut oil, avocados, olive oil, and they work. They work perfect, and it's very, very easy on my gut as well. So the
Okay.
digestion is perfect. I'm not feeling any bloat. I'm not feeling any heaviness. I mean, I'm going to bed and I'm feeling satisfied as well.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if I got like, well, I had this conversation with Colt a few weeks ago when I was on a higher protein intake before I went to bed, I was so bloated, it was affecting my sleep. And then
Yeah.
the next
My
day,
sleep's been affected. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I think if our sleep is getting affected and our gut is getting affected, well, then obviously what's going to happen is your performance in the gym eventually is going to start taking a hit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And we don't want that. We want to make sure you're going to the gym, you're full of energy, you're full of beans, you're getting stronger, and you're getting leaner at the same time. That's the goal.
Yeah. I would say so. I put you on that high amount of protein to start, Jordan, because that's been the fastest muscle growth that I've been able to see is when my protein is that high.
Sure.
So that is definitely a bulking strategy that is going to cause it is going to cause inflammation, and there's just no way around it. Building muscle equals um uh inflammation to some degree. So, but at this point, I think where Coach Mark is coming from is now's not the time to do that. now's the time to, yes, gain weight. And yes, you're going to need to be consuming a lot of energy. I use the word energy specifically because I don't like the word fat as much as energy when we're talking in terms of where your energy is coming from. But dietary fat is going to be your energy source. But yeah, no, I think that will be better for you hormonally. I think that you'll be sleeping better. I think you'll find it more flexible too, because you need to be dynamic every single day and be able to handle a tantrum. You're homeschooling your kids and stuff. I mean, like if something happens, you need to be able to drop what you're doing and switch gears. And it's just 10 times easier to do if you're in ketosis too. So I think that right now that's what that would be not only better for you, but since your husband's on a ketogenic diet too, that makes sense. And then you've got the same macros, the same meals and everything. I think it would simplify things for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
More. Yeah,
Okay.
because Mark, what we're doing so far is because her husband is on a very similar macro split to what hers are going to be right now. So I think for their household, this might just simplify things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would also say as well that it's just something that we need to consider also, that everybody is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean, everybody burns calories differently. I mean, I could probably burn more calories in my sleep than Colt does, or it could be vice versa. You know what I mean? Probably Colt's resting metabolic rate is probably high and mine is probably low. You know, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's digestion is completely different. Like
Right.
myself and you, Jordan, we have gut issues when we have dairy. So whereas Colt, he wouldn't have any issues when it comes to dairy.
Right. Yeah.
So his digestion is a lot easier. So he could probably get away with eating like a big meal, like 3 or 4 thousand calories, whereas me and you, we probably have to
I
eat.
do it every night, man. It's the best way to live.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I can guarantee you that will change when you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no,
Because like
Jordan, Mark and I just debunked my macros for an hour yesterday. And because the lean protein is great. It is great for bulking, but man, yeah, no, it's your sleep definitely is not as optimal as when
Yeah.
you're in ketosis. And there's a couple other factors to where Mark and I were just like, for me, it's not worth it right now too. So I'm going to take a couple weeks off of it and I'm going to join you on keto. So yeah, so
Yeah, I like what Mark mentioned about the eating a big meal, because I have been eating the really big meal at nighttime, and I feel like it's waking me up at night. Because I feel like I can anything because it's like I can feel my digestion going while I'm
yeah,
sleeping, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
That's not good. That's not good.
yeah, and especially I've noticed that that all of our ladies are more or less saying the same thing. I'm noticing that the guys do great with the big meal right before bed, and it's like they'll, month after month, like they can take it, but they're also in their 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. No, 100%. Because I remember when I was in my 20s, I could put away calories, no problem, no problem. But now that I'm in my 40s, things have changed big time. I can't
yeah,
I can't eat I can't eat the same food. I have to eat every couple of hours. And then at the end of the day, you have to look at your lifestyle as well. If you've got like a really busy lifestyle, like work or kids and stuff like that, you have to consider these factors as well. So if you do have a busy lifestyle, then maybe that 1 or 2 meals a day might fit into your schedule. But I would still make sure that if you were going to be eating a big meal, I wouldn't give you like over like a high percentage of protein, because I think if I give you a high percentage of protein, you're going to have major gut issues going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and again, one more thing too, just to clarify too. I'm sorry, I don't think I mentioned this, was that her first meal is within. When was your first meal? I told you to eat like basically when you got hungry, so that should have been like an hour or two after your workout in the morning, right?
Right. So I'm exercising 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up right away and exercise, and then I go into the kitchen and eat right away. Just because I'm starving by then. And thankfully my appetite has increased. So I'm like, even if the days that I'm not in our garage gym, I am waking up first thing and eating. So
And then
yeah.
her protein was spread out throughout the day with her biggest meal definitely by my suggestion being right before she goes to bed. So far the results are there on paper. She's which is because you know me, the bodybuilding coach, I'm like, okay, we got that down. So after it's been 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay, 3 weeks you've gained 8 or 9 pounds.
Yeah, I think 96 when I started, and now I'm at 102.
Right. Okay. So
Well,
that's
see,
her.
that's
So that's so
sorry,
that's
go ahead.
so that's her results so far, and now I think we're just realizing that um that the inflammation has just got to stop.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, because I think at the moment, because of that 3 weeks, we've gained like a good bit in weight. I think most of that weight has is an awful lot of storage there as well.
Mm.
I think there's an awful lot of food in the gut at the moment that is still there after a week or two,
Yeah.
and it
Totally.
hasn't passed through the intestines yet.
Okay. So for I guess being practical now, looking at her meal plan on for her next phase, her first meal is 4 ounces of air fried pork belly and a quarter pound of raw. She doesn't actually eat it raw, but it's weighed out raw
Mhm.
ground beef, and so that's 30 grams of protein total. Yeah, 31 grams of protein her first meal, and then 72 grams of fat that first meal. And so I
Okay.
guess the next couple meals, if we did like 3 more meals about the same, that would more or less hit her macros throughout the day. I'm curious if you have any particular foods or anything off the top of your head that maybe she should take into consideration that we should add in there. I know she's got her favorites too, so we're gonna add those too for sure.
Yeah.
I would just add in like foods that are going to be easy to digest. Like, you can't go wrong with oils. Oils, I find that with oils, they're very, very easy to go through the gut, especially when you add them a small dose of protein. There's no issues on inflammation.
Yeah, and they
Um,
got olive oil. You guys are fans of olive oil, right? So we'll do that.
yeah,
What
I think
about is
I'm.
butter? You don't think butter would be good? You think butter would be
I th
hard to digest?
I think butter in mixed in your coffee, if you don't have any issues with dairy, then that's a great option to have as well. Because
Yeah.
at the moment, all you need to do is just increase your fat intake and
Yeah.
decrease your protein intake. So I would say instead of having a meal, just have a cup of coffee or something like that and just add a stick of butter to it.
Definitely.
And that would be
Yeah,
pre-workout.
yeah.
Okay.
And I would have that at least maybe 2.5 hours before you train. But in saying that though, I wouldn't be a big fan of having fat before training. I would have that pretty much maybe after training, because I don't want anything that's going to upset the gut while I'm training. So if I am going to be training before, or sorry, if I'm going to be eating anything before I train, I'm only going to eat a small bit of protein, because I need a bit of protein to get me through my workout. That's just for me personally. That's what I do with my clients. I make sure there's a little bit of protein in there, and I'll make sure the majority of the calories will come in post workout, because
Okay.
I don't want anything to ruin that workout for you when you walk into the gym. If you're having any issues with bloating, or if you're full, that's a sign that you're after eating too much fat in between during your or sorry before your workout. Now, if you are gonna add in some fats post work or sorry but pre-workout, maybe 5 grams, 10 grams, see how it feels. If you feel like you're good and no issues whatsoever, then stick with it. But if you feel like, no, I'm going into the gym, I'm crashing, I'm not feeling good, well, then that's a sign. Then you need to write it down in your journal and say, well, listen, that doesn't work for me. Then change away a protein intake. So let's say you add in, say, I don't know, some bacon or something, two or three slices of bacon. See how that works.
Mhm.
If that works perfectly, put it in your diary and say, right, that's a tick.
Yeah.
Then let's look at the post workout window. So pretty much after training, then you'll wait about an hour for the digestion to relax. Because
Okay.
after your workout, your stomach's gonna be like a washing machine. So the last thing you want to do is put food in there. So I would wait about an
That's a good
hour.
analogy. Sorry to cut you off. I like that. That's exactly what it feels like, a washing machine.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after training, then that's when you probably get the majority of your calories for the whole day. So
Okay.
let's say you're on, let's say 1600 calories and you finished your workout. I would make sure you're getting at least 60% of your overall calorie intake post workout, because after that workout, you can basically suck up all those nutrients because you've just done a heavy session in the gym. So all those nutrients are going to go to those areas that you just worked in the gym.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes
Does that make
sense.
sense?
Definitely.
Then and then at nighttime, then I would just add in what you need to add in. But I would make sure it's a calorically dense meal, because you want to make sure you're full before you go to bed.
Okay. So her first meal is good. So she's going to train fasted, and then she's going to consume a big meal with about 60% of her calories after training when she's hungry. And then like after her stomach's not a washing machine anymore. And then maybe some snacks up until dinner. And
Yeah.
so basically like 2 meals a day, and then the last one's like the last 40% of her calories before she goes to bed.
Yeah. What time do you normally train at, Jordan?
I've been training around like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, she's
Okay, so
hardcore,
then
bro.
okay, perfect. So then that meal at nighttime, the night before, is the most important meal as well. So yeah,
Okay.
I would have the meal the night before. I would train in the morning, and I would still push your fast up till about 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock.
Okay.
But about 2 hours after training, that's where I'd have the cup of coffee and probably a stick of butter just to keep you going for that couple of hours. And then I
Okay.
would push that first meal then to around 12 o'clock, and then maybe a snack in between, and then have another meal then about 3 or 4 hours, or about 3 hours before you go to bed. Because
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of having a big meal like literally before you go to bed. I would rather you have a good meal inside you at least 2.5 to 3 hours before you go to bed, to let it digest.
Okay.
Let the food digest before you go to bed. That means you're going to get a better sleep.
Well, I'm here for that. Sounds great. Yeah.
Because I don't at the moment, I think at the moment all we're doing here is we're just focusing, first of all, too much on protein. I think the protein is way too high. That's just my personal opinion. I think if we're going to be in ketosis, which is what we want, and we want to make sure we're getting a reduction in inflammation, and we
Yeah.
want to make sure good brain health and good gut health, then I think a high protein diet will actually make us end up we will actually end up going backwards if we do that.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. I'm gonna summarize then. So basically, she's training fasted first thing in the morning, ideally with food in her stomach, but that's probably not the best idea because we don't want her throwing it back up. So, so she's gonna continue to train fasted in the mornings at 6
Yeah,
a.m. because she's awesome and she's setting her alarm and making it happen. And then she's gonna consume roughly like 5% of her day's worth of calories in terms of some sort of animal based fat
mhm,
over the next couple hours until she gets hungry, and then around noon,
yeah,
ideally, she's going to consume probably like 50% of her calories if we're being realistic.
yeah,
In a large post workout meal.
yeah,
I'm guessing that she'll consume 5% of her food throughout the rest of her day in terms of snacks, and then have a nice meal. That's probably like the same. I'll make it the same thing that Gabe's eating right before bed. That'll be
yeah,
40% of the rest of her food for the day, and that's a wrap. And then she wakes up and trains.
yeah, yeah. And then all you need to do, Jordan, is check in with Colt and just tell him basically, is it working?
Yeah.
If the plan is working and you're happy with everything going forward and you have
Yep.
no issues with digestion, then pretty much Colt doesn't need to change anything.
She's
But
one of
you
our
need to,
best, if she's not the best communicator we have, she's definitely one of the best communicators we have. Yeah,
good
no, dude,
stuff.
every single
I
day,
over communicate.
Good
which
stuff.
is like, especially with Jordan, I'm like, if there's anybody that needs to over communicate, it's you. So like, yeah, no, these text messages are pages long, and then I get back to it on Polo, and that's how we communicate. That's how we've been doing it this week, and it's been cool because then like everything's in writing too. I'm like, okay, wait, how was she doing a day before? How was she doing a day before that? And it's all in one place. So
Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's good.
Yeah, brilliant stuff.
Cool.
I can't wait to try this. That's really great information and such great advice. It's so nice to hear that, like, Mark, there's someone else out there who can't handle dairy and trying to like also have an animal-based diet. It's good to not be the only one.
Hmm.
But I see this an awful lot from the women I work with. They always come back to me and they say to me, like, I'm eating extremely healthy. Like
Right.
like these people will come back to me and they say, like, I can't lose the weight. I'm eating extremely healthy. You'll have a look at the diet, and like not about 85% of what they're eating is all carbohydrates.
Mm,
All carbohydrates.
yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll ask every one of them to go and get me a blood test. And then I'll check their cholesterol, I'll check their thyroid, I'll check their blood levels, I'll check their sugar levels, and every one of them is sky high. Every one of them. And like I only took on a girl there last week that had type diabetes too. She did absolutely everything. She's been with her doctor for the last couple of years. Our doctor just had her on medication after medication after
Mm,
medication.
yeah.
And then she set me her diet plan. I'm not even joking with you. 95% of it was fruit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sugar and
Now,
carbs.
now I'm not, but when it comes to diabetes, I'm actually a fan of fruit, but not too
Okay.
much of it. But
Mm,
when you see the amount of fruit that they're eating, it's just like it's insane,
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
right.
And these,
And fruit today is mostly just, I mean, a banana is just a giant candy bar anymore. They've been
that's all
so
there is.
genetically modified
Yeah,
from what God created to be in the first place.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you check their blood, when you check their sugar levels, they're sky high.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why they're out of control, and that's the reason why they have such a bad relationship when it comes to food.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yep.
It's just
I mean,
and
I always thought that. I always thought, oh, I need to gain weight. I need to increase my carbs, you know? That's just sort of where we go.
Yeah, because everybody says that you need carbs to build muscle, and there's no science that proves that. Carbs
because
are a fuel source. That's it.
Right.
yeah,
Well, I've never
yeah,
gained weight as fast as what I have by the past few weeks, but I've limited my carbs, you know? So
mm.
Yeah.
it's been
And
kind of
see, and
amazing.
that at the end of the day, when you eat carbohydrates, all you're doing is you're filling the muscle up with water.
Wow.
That's all you're doing. You're not doing anything else. When people are so against the keto diet because when you take carbohydrates out of your diet, you lose weight so quickly, but it's only water weight. You
Mhm.
haven't lost any fat. It's just water weight. So when you put those carbohydrates back in, then it fills them back up again.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Whereas if you're on a keto diet, you're just building muscle. You're building solid muscle.
Yeah,
You know,
Jordan, I'm about like probably 10 or 15 pounds away from stage weight right now. Whenever I eat carbs, it's night and day difference. Like you can like my whole body is just it looks puffier. It my face looks puffy. I start getting zits and stuff.
Yeah.
Going back on a carnivore a week or two later, or a week or two later, I'll lose. I'm not even kidding. I lose 3 or 4 pounds. Like
Wow.
the water retention and the water and the water loss is something that like I mean you and I are probably close to the same body fat percentage. Let's just be realistic, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. You notice it easier, I'm sure.
yeah. Oh, um, side note on the you guys were talking about dairy allergies earlier, and I wanted to throw in just a fun little announcement. So this might be low key though, so this might have to be edited out. I guess we'll find out. But Keto Brick now has a brick that will be released soon. Taylor, my wife, just texted me that has no dairy in it. It's all
Wow,
it's all beef source, and there's actually organs in it too. So
that's awesome.
yeah, I've
Yeah, I've
never had a
seen
keto
that.
brick I didn't like, so I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
seen, go ahead.
I was going to say in the past, I've never been able to be the type that can drink protein powder in a shake because it's always like whey or, pea
Mm,
protein, which is awful for my gut as
So
well.
you
And
mm.
Even whey protein isolate, huh? Even with no lactose.
Yeah, it just seems like whatever
Wow.
protein. The only protein powder I have yet to try is the one that I think it's just made from. It's like a beef protein.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
one I take. Yeah,
oh,
I'm the
is it?
same.
Yeah.
I'm the very, very same. I can't take any whey isolate because it literally, I think it's the sweeteners that's in it. It literally
Uh,
destroys my gut. But when I change it to like a beef carnivore protein, it just it's not as bad.
right.
I still get a bit gassy with it, but
Yeah.
it's nowhere near as bad
Oh,
if I
wow.
take a whey
Okay.
protein. Yeah, so I'm the same as you. Definitely
Hmm.
beef protein powder.
Yeah, I like swell up like a balloon right away as
You
soon as I
guys are
would take
gonna you guys are gonna kill our metabolic nutrition protein powder sales if we keep this conversation up. I'm
it.
just kidding.
Sorry.
Yeah, I notice a little bit of gut irritation with the amount of sucralose that I consume because all the supplements that I take have sucralose in it, but that's just where I'm like, um, I'll take the muscle pump and everything else that I get. And I just like drinking sweet stuff too, and so that's just a personal decision where I'm like, you know what, I'm okay making that sacrifice. But for you, Jordan, no, yeah, definitely, I would say do not use a whey protein isolate. Stick with Mark's recommending there for sure.
Definitely.
See with protein powders, that we're told that they are good, and it is a good food source, but it's also a processed food.
Yeah.
Protein powder is a processed food.
Yep.
So if you're putting that into your body every single day, eventually it's not going to agree with you.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
some doesn't. Now, as I said, some people can tolerate it, and some people can keep it in and have no issues with it whatsoever. I'm not one of them. I know if I drink a protein powder, I'm going to be in bits for about 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
and
just not.
personally, I'm not consuming any protein powder at the moment either. I'm the same way that you are, Mark.
I would rather just focus on just getting. And first of all, I would rather get 100 grams of chicken breast instead of 100 grams of powder. I know which one is going to actually do me better than, you know what I mean. So it's like if you gave me 100 grams of protein powder, that's going to literally destroy my gut. Whereas if I have 100 grams of chicken breast, I know which one is going to fill me up longer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm always going to go for option B because of that satiety feeling. I'm going to be full for a couple of hours. Where if I have a protein shake, I'm going to probably want something after it because that sugar is going to want me to crave something else.
Mhm.
And I don't want that. I want to be in control of what I do. And at the end of the day, all I want is just to look at food as fuel to fuel my body, and that's it, nothing else.
Mhm. Totally. I want to switch gears into her workout plan, if that's okay. Now,
Let's
good time to
go.
do that. All right, good stuff.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes, your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
Jordan is on a push-pull leg split. Okay.
Yep.
And she's doing that 3 times a week. So she's on kind of a similar split to her husband. So they're doing like mostly the same exercises because they're both training from home. And so this is the best way to train both of them together because they're doing everything together, and they can help each other, like if they can't get a hold of Taylor and me at the moment. But anyway, they have free weights at home. That's what they have access to, and so they're doing a lot of dumbbells, a lot of like light plate work for hitting the side laterals, stuff like that. But yeah, so I mean, she's doing a superset of dumbbell kickbacks and side lateral raises to start on push day. 3 sets of each of those, and then she's doing 3 sets of dips and kettlebell upright rows. So she's hitting the side laterals there and the rear delts and her triceps. And then her main superset is dumbbell low incline presses for the upper pecs, and then bent over lateral raises for the rear delts. And then she's finishing off with seated Arnold presses and dumbbell pullovers. And so that comes out to 25 working sets, and she's doing that every Monday. Wednesdays is a pull workout that follows a similar pattern. Fridays is a leg workout that follows a similar pattern. And her cardio is basically just enough to get warm and break a sweat and enough to cool down, but no more cardio than that and no more expanding calories than that. And that's pretty much her entire week. Did I sum up everything pretty well correctly, Jordan?
Yes.
So it looks like, all right.
And how you find the training, Jordan? Do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. I'm not strong with my upper body. I'm definitely more weak in that regards. I've done a lot of work on my lower body the past year, so I'm definitely stronger on leg day come Friday. Love it. So it's been definitely an adjustment working on my upper body more. But I've enjoyed it, and I can see my muscles poking out, which is pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
I
how
have
do you track your workouts?
I'm using the log book.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I still need to send you yours too. Sorry, bro. I'm waiting on the pink potassium salt to get in, because I wanted to send that all in one package. So
No worries, man.
it'll be here like a day or two. But yeah, she's using the tracking log book that we send out.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we just recently bought new dumbbells because the ones we had were very clunky. And we didn't have, a lot of weight variety with the dumbbells either. So I'll be able to next week go up on my weights a little bit more. So it would jump from like 6 to 10, for example. So have been able to increase my weight in some areas, and I'm hoping to do it, more next week as well.
Amazing. That's what it's all about. As long as you're progressing in the gym, and that's all that matters. And if you enjoy your workout, that's equally more important. There's nothing worse going into the gym and you're doing something you don't enjoy. I always say that if you enjoy a workout and it works for you, don't change it.
Yeah, definitely. I really do enjoy it. It's been a struggle doing it first thing in the morning because I just haven't had a ton of energy mentally or physically, but I always feel better after I exercise. So that's been probably the only struggle, is just waking up and having the mental and physical energy to do it. But I've been able to, so.
I think if you want that to improve, it just comes down to adding good habits into your life.
Yeah.
So if you go to bed at a particular time, maybe go to bed a little bit earlier, and then what will happen is eventually your body clock will wake you up naturally.
Yeah.
If you're waking up naturally, more than likely you won't be tired. But if you're using an alarm to wake you up and you're just jumping up out of bed, then pretty much for the whole day you're gonna be tired.
Yeah. Yeah, we go to bed at a pretty decent hour. I've had a hard time with my sleep. It's getting better. It was really interrupted last month, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. I was doing really good last week with my sleep, but as soon as I started getting, this congestion again, my sleep has been off. And so I think that even changing my diet up, like we had talked about earlier, will help tremendously with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I think within a week after the conversation today, within a week, I'll be very, very interested to see how your sleep went from today up till next Saturday. I can 100% promise you it'll be a lot better.
Awesome.
And
Well, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, Jordan, and you can reply back, reply all to those emails and copy Mark too, and so that he can see what
Sure.
it says too, because I'm sure that
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
he's dying to know. I'm also going to add to that. I got your progress pictures right in front of me. Where do you think that you're seeing the most muscle growth? Where do you feel like you're improving the most? I was going to say shoulders and arms. Your shoulders are they seem to be filling out the fastest.
I agree 100%. Definitely. My shoulders and arms, which has been great because I don't know if you're like this, Mark, but whenever I lose weight, I lose it in my upper body. It goes first. I lose it in my arms, my chest, like that's where the weight is lost first. So I'm really excited to um, get some meat or muscle in that department.
No pun intended there. Yeah, no, I was gonna say your lats are looking a little wider too. And maybe you're just posing better in the second one, but you also have good lighting in that one in that one too. But yeah, no, definitely seeing muscle growth and your numbers are going up. So it doesn't sound like there's any signs of overtraining. Would you?
No, honestly, I think it's been good to do the 3 times a week. Um, I mean, I'm sore and I feel like, I've listened to a few of the podcasts that you've done, especially with Mark, and I think that the overdoing it is something that I definitely want to steer clear from.
Mhm.
And so especially right now as I'm trying to fix my sleep in my gut. So I think that the 3 times a week has been good. Again, I'm very active. So I go on walks with my children just about every day. We're outside a lot. Thankfully, we have the weather to do that. I'm at parks. I'm lifting kids in and out of vans, and it's, you do the same thing. And then I'm cleaning.
I'm pretty sure that burns more calories than working out does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally lifting like a 30 pounds little person all around throughout her day. And
Just keeping them out of trouble burns enough calories. That should be counted as active recovery.
exactly. No, I agree. And we have a 2-story home, so I'm up and down the stairs all day, on my feet all day. So I really don't want, and I was really pleased that you started me off with the 3 days because I think that that's what my body needs right now for sure.
Oh, Mark would have killed me if I would have started you on 6 days a week. Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, looks like we got a good plan moving forward. Then, you got one more week on these workouts. So,
Okay.
yeah. So all of her rep ranges are around 15 reps or 45 seconds per working set. So, excuse me, she's gone a little heavier on back day. She's up to eight reps on a couple exercises and nothing heavy whatsoever on legs. During this 4th week of her doing all these same exercises, do you think it would be reasonable to encourage her to kind of push the envelope a little bit and do the same amount of working sets? So she's still doing 25, but intuitively on exercises like bench presses and pulling movements and leg exercises that she feels like she's particularly strong on, pushing the envelope and having her shoot for around like 8 to 10 reps to failure there?
I would say if she's not getting stronger on particular movements, then obviously the volume on that workout needs to be lowered.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like if you're struggling on a leg press or a squat or whatever, I would say, okay, do I need like 4 warm-ups? Can I just do 2 warm-ups and then go straight into my main set? Because if you're wasting energy on those 4 sets, it's actually going to make you weaker on the 5th set.
Because you're feeling better on your upper day. You're feeling stronger on your upper body days than you are lower body days, right, Jordan?
So I'm sore after my lower body days. I will say, as in far back as November, I was squatting 175 pounds with a barbell.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm just using the band. So I'm used to doing heavier weights on my lower body, on my legs. I've gone easy and haven't really like mentioned anything because I am coming off a month of being like really sick.
Mhm.
So I've just gone with the flow, but I will say like historically this past year I have been able to do a lot more weight on my legs. Um, does
Okay,
that
so
make
then
sense?
Yeah.
that makes perfect, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So what I would do there is then if you are going to be using like a squat and you're using a barbell, then I would use a method of say like reps in reserve. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So
No.
reps in reserve is basically you're not taking the muscle to complete failure, but you're actually adding more workloads. So you'll do like a 6 by 3, 3 by 6, 1 by 5. It's kind of like strength work. So
Okay.
it's just basically lifting the bar off the ground or squatting with the bar like for 3 reps, but you know you have another 2 reps in there, but you're not going to use them.
Okay.
That will actually make you stronger.
Okay.
So I would say if you are going to do that, do like reps, say 6 sets of 3, 5 by 5, 4 by 5, whatever it is. Increase the weight slowly, but don't go any higher than 4 reps. And
Okay.
then once you feel that last set, no, that's getting really, really heavy, then you write that down and you say, right, I started off with this weight. So next week, I'm going to start off with the weight I started on the next set. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
So let's say I don't know what it is in pounds, but let's say you were lifting 10 pounds on a squat, and that's your first working set, and you've done 4 reps, perfect form. You've loads of reps in the tank. I would say write that down, but next week start with 15 pounds
Okay.
and then go for that last set. But make sure you're not going to failure in all those sets. Make sure you're keeping reps in reserve. So
Okay.
that means every week then you're progressing, you're getting stronger, and you don't actually realize you're getting stronger.
Yeah. Minimum effective dose.
Yeah, you're
Um,
just focusing. So what you're doing here is you're focusing on strength. So
Okay.
I would put that in the first part of your workout. Then the second part of the leg training, add more hypertrophy, more volume, more higher reps, and then probably the next exercise the same again, and then probably the last exercise you could add like a giant set or a super set or a drop set or whatever you want to do just to finish the muscle off. So that
Mhm.
means then you're going into the workout, you're not just doing the exact same thing with every single exercise, because at the end of the day, all you need is just one intensity set on each exercise. But if you want to get stronger, I would just focus on a rep in reserve method at the very, very beginning and just focus on controlling that weight and exploding with that weight. Because if you can imagine, like I said, I've spoke about this before. Like if you can imagine a coil on a car and you're literally compressing that coil down as much as you can, you're bringing the coil down as much as you can, and then as you let go of it, it's just going to spring up.
Mhm.
If you can move the weight like that in the gym, like really lower yourself down, but as you come up, use a lot of power, like a lot of power to drive that weight back up. What's going to happen is you're actually going to get a lot stronger going forward,
Wow.
a lot
Okay.
stronger. You'll see for yourself 100%.
Nice. That's awesome.
and for those listening, if you are up to date on your hypertrophy terminology, great. If not, reps in reserve, RIR, according to Google, means the number of reps or repetitions you can accomplish before hitting a technical failure or before you miss a lift. So yeah,
Yeah,
basically like 2 to 3 reps before a failure.
yeah. And that's going to make you stronger, because at the end of the day, what if you lift a weight, whether it's just a squat or a deadlift or something, anything, whatever it is, something is moving that weight, which is your muscle. Your muscle is moving that weight. But if you control that weight, you're actually doing more damage to the muscle in the eccentric part of the lift. So when you lower that weight down, that's where you're doing the most damage. This is what we want.
Okay.
We're not doing a lot of damage when we contract the muscle. We're doing a lot more damage as we lower the weight down.
Absolutely.
Because so if you think about, like, let's say if you did a bicep curl like this, okay, and you do as many reps as you can, and you get to 12 reps, and you just cannot lift that weight anymore. You just cannot lift it anymore. What you can do is you can spot yourself. You can use your other hand to grab your arm, lift that up, and you will have more power on the way down. You'll actually be a lot stronger. So you'll
Okay.
probably be able to get another 10 reps on the way down. So
Huh.
this part, so when you do that part there, that's 50% of the muscle being worked, but you're missing out on the other 50% by lowering the weight down. So unless you exhaust that muscle, you haven't taken that muscle to complete failure. So that's why I'm a big fan. I know Colt is a big fan of this as well. I'm a big fan of time retention because you're in complete control of this phase and that
Right.
phase.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you're lifting a big heavy weight, what's going to happen is you're only focusing on getting that weight off the ground, putting it down, and then picking it up again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and especially if you're doing a squat, it's very, very hard to control yourself if you're doing a squat.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for that. That was 10 times better than I would have said it for sure. Thanks, man. Okay. I was gonna add something. Oh yeah. So for this next week for her, she's not doing any squats, any barbell back squats at the moment. She's let me just walk you through give you a crash course on her leg workout real quick. So she's doing hip thrusts and reverse leg extensions as a superset. Basically laying down on a mat. You know what a reverse leg extension is, right? Okay. And then I mean we have different terms here than we do in like idioms, different terms here than we do in Ireland. We've already nailed a couple of them, but one of them is pal. Like if you say like, hey, hey, what's up, pal? Like in the United States, a lot of times that can come across as condescending, but like over there, it's they say it like we say bro. So like so when we call each other pal, we're actually speaking highly of each other. But anyway, so then his okay, so then she has a pyramid superset of wait, no, sorry, not a pyramid superset, a pump superset of front squats and calf raises, and then she's doing dumbbell stiff-legged deadlifts and lying leg raises for the upper quads, hip flexors, and lower abs. And then she's finishing off with dumbbell hamstring curls and ski squats, which is basically wall sits. So all high reps there. I'm thinking that she should start by going heavier this week on her deadlifts. So we'll bump those up to like 4 or 5 reps, and she'll do them just like the way you were just describing. So that'll be the change to make this week, and then next week she'll be due for an entire new workout plan. So we'll put barbell squats on the front end of those. Start light and then go every week.
Right. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, got that.
Now, I did mean to add that on my days off, I am doing the push-ups. So forgot to add that. Not that makes a difference or not, but I am doing the push-ups.
On your days off, I wouldn't do anything. I just walk.
Okay. Good.
You want to preserve your strength. So on your days off, just focus on your steps, because at the end of the day, your rest days is your recovery days.
Okay.
What about hey Mark? What about I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Personally, I feel 10 times better on my rest days if I do just like 2 or 3 sets. It's not a lot, but it's just something to get the rotator cuffs moving, the blood pumping, and I think that's kind of more what she was describing. She's not banging out like push-up marathons or anything. She's just moving to kind of help with the active recovery, right? You're not even going anywhere close to failure, right, Jordan?
No, not at all. And I'm using a band as well whenever I do the push-up. So kind of helps.
I would focus more on stretching personally.
Okay.
Like do stretching, do walking. Like the more mobile you are, the more you're going to be better in the gym. That's just my personal opinion. I think days off should be only focused on your recovery, your nutrition, your steps, getting your mindset ready for the next day, for what's to come. Now, don't get me wrong, if you enjoy it and you like doing the press ups, then keep them in. But I think you can do more, as in like your stretching, like if you have any weak areas, if you feel like your mobility needs more improving, or if your cardiovascular work needs. Now, when I say cardiovascular, I mean just steps.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, simple stuff like that.
Do
But
you
in
have like
regards
a,
to,
I
go
was gonna
ahead.
say, do you have a stretching method that you suggest?
I always use a foam roller every morning on my
Okay.
days off. So every morning when I wake up, I'll spend about 20 minutes, half an hour foam rolling. I'll stretch all the areas in my back and my chest and my legs, and it speeds up the recovery process.
Mm.
So that's what I want. So I want to make sure I'm going to the gym. There's no stiffness there. I'm feeling good. Like if I let's put it this way, if I nail everything on my days off, my sleep, my nutrition, my steps, my stretching, my workout the following day is going to be 100% because my mindset is ready to go. I know what
Right.
time I'm going to. I know what time I'm going to bed at. I know what time I'm waking up at. I already have the plan written out the night before what I'm going to do in the gym. So when I wake up the next day, I'm excited. I
Yeah.
cannot wait to go. I cannot wait to go to the gym. Cannot wait. If you're waking up the next day and you're like, oh, I'm going to the gym with no plan, no structure, you haven't done the homework the day before,
Mm-hmm.
the chances are you're losing out a lot on that workout.
Okay. That makes such good sense. It's really
Because
bringing your mind, it's bringing your mind
yeah,
and your rhythms and your rituals into the workout.
yeah, because a lot of people
Yeah.
focus on a pre-workout before they go to the gym, which is probably the worst thing you could do because you have just woken up out of bed, but you need a bit of caffeine to get you psyched up for that workout. I would much rather focus on what did I do the day before
Wow.
to
Yeah.
get me ready for that workout. So
Yeah.
if I
That's
if I tick
such
if
good
I
advice.
ticked if I ticked every single box, I can guarantee you I will be mentally stronger than you. If you took a pre-workout, I'd be mentally stronger. I'd be able to go for hours in that gym, hours, because I'm ready to go. I've ticked
Right.
every box the day before.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. Your mindset, your diet will beat any pre-workout on the planet. The worst thing you can do if you're not energized, if you've already taken pre-workout, is to go, oh yeah, I think maybe today I just need more pre-workout or another energy drink. That's a recipe for anxiety, for you're
Absolutely.
gonna wreck up your sleep. That's how you get down a real dark hole real quick of
Mhm.
consuming way too much caffeine and getting addicted to it. And I've been there.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
at the end of the day, like you can have as much you can have a caffeine drink, go into the gym and feel good and have a bit of energy. But I guarantee you, if your muscles are not ready and primed and ready to go after the feeding you had the day before, you're gonna get an injury very, very quickly in that gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys,
Yeah. That makes sense.
we got about 15 minutes left, but I was really hoping that we could talk more about caffeine. Would that be okay? Because Jordan's been would it be safe to say trying to quit caffeine? And
Oh, we can talk about it, but I did bring caffeine back in.
yeah,
Just a
because
very small amount. Yeah.
exactly. So Mark, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this. One quick side note. I'm just gonna add to what Mark said. Thank you, by the way, for sharing that, bro. That was super helpful. I'm gonna add an additional resource, shameless podcast plug here. But episode 75 of our show, we had Bernardo Castellanos on, super good friend of mine, another very, very good trainer. He is definitely not keto, but he specializes more in strength and functionality type training, whereas I'm the aesthetics guy, right? But he's but on that interview with him, we talked about all things recovery. So I mean, massage, active recovery, sleep, Theragun. That's probably been my biggest active recovery, has been Theragun. I mean, I'm addicted to it.
Mm,
It's not next to me, but it pretty much never leaves my side.
mm,
I don't really go anywhere without it. And like whenever I'm feeling tight, that thing it does the trick. And it's definitely one to where you don't want to get a knockoff brand. You want it if you pay $300 or $400 for a good one, it's a good investment. We're trying to get a massage chair here too, so that'll be, kind of our family's next investment. That'll be super helpful for Taylor on her prep. I wish I had
mm.
one on my last one. Yeah, CBD, yoga, stretching. Bernardo has a lot to share on that too. So anyway,
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait to listen to that. That'll be good.
yeah, good stuff. Okay, so caffeine. Do you want to summarize what your caffeine story is?
Yeah. So, like I said last in January, I had the whole like steroid experience that caused, I mean, I've never been one to really have anxiety, but it caused anxiety. And so I just took a step back from caffeine whenever my sleep was getting messed up and just kind of recovering from that steroid. Which I've had two doctors tell me that it really doesn't take that long to recover from the steroid. But my body, I'm such small weight. They gave me a heavy dose, and I definitely feel like it took its toll. And
Mhm.
so I decided to take a step back from the caffeine to kind of recover from that. And which I think I stopped the coffee because I thought I had some sort of like reaction to my coffee, which I think I did actually. And so like a allergic reaction. This was January 9th. I had had some sort of like allergic reaction, which sent me off into the whole steroid debacle to begin with. Um, and so I had gotten rid of the coffee and switched to green tea, which I was drinking just very little bit of in the morning. And I don't like the taste of it. So that was sort of a hard switch. And it was a very low amount of caffeine. And so I was like, well, maybe since it's been such a low amount, I can go ahead and just get rid of the caffeine intake altogether. But I just, nobody told me to do that. No, I didn't have any doctor tell me. My general practitioner told me that the little bit of caffeine that I was having was probably fine, okay. And so I did reintroduce caffeine last week, I think it was. No, I reintroduced caffeine 2 weeks. I don't know. I think it was on a Friday, so a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it's been fine. I've been doing it very early in the morning. I only drink the caffeine after I've hydrated and I've eaten and I've worked out, so I'm not depending on the caffeine to get me through the workout. Um, I'm just doing it, by a certain point in the morning. Excuse me, my congestion's kicking in. And I actually did have my first cup of coffee this morning. I bought a low acid, mold and toxin free coffee, and I got a glass French press. So I think that I was having a reaction to like mold from the coffee that I was drinking,
Mhm.
because it was one that was kind of like a cheap, on the off the counter type brand. So I did okay, and I've done okay today. It hasn't messed with my belly. It hasn't given me any sort of like anaphylactic type thing. Yeah. So
Praise
it's a
God.
long story for you.
Good stuff. What are your thoughts, Mr. Mark?
Yeah, I think with caffeine, I think if you're not having any anxiety attacks and you feel good on it, then I don't see any issues at all.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of caffeine here and there is not going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I would only take it out if it starts affecting your health.
Yeah.
So if you're getting panic attacks or you're feeling anxiety or if you're having heart palpitations, anything like that, then that's not a good sign.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
I
My,
go
my
ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say my caffeine intake this time last year, because I was in the hospital with the stomach ulcer this time last year. Just from it's our busiest time of the year. And so coming into this season this year, I was like, man, I need to make sure that I'm ready for whatever stress loads we have, and and that we can handle everything, and I can handle it better than last year. But last year I was consuming about 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Wow.
1,000 to 1,500. Yeah, I mean, just going through energy drinks like it was crazy, man. Just like working 12-hour days, and just trying to make sure everybody's happy and everything's going smooth. But everything was going smooth except my health, right? But I did notice that whenever, because I'm just like you, Jordan. grew up in a stable household, have no reason to really, deal with anxiety or depression or anything. But I have had anxiety attacks, and it's scary. And the best way I can describe it, I don't know if you can relate, is it feels like you're being chased by a lion and you feel like you're going to die, but it doesn't make any sense because there's no danger. Right.
Right.
I'm talking, like breaking down on the floor, bawling my eyes out, like just kind of scared. And it was always when I was on either a hardcore pre-workout or consuming a lot of caffeine. You know me, like I really don't do a lot of drugs other than some green herbal supplementation here and there. And that's the only green that's in my diet. That's neither here nor there. But when it comes to, I don't even think you knew that about me. I keep it low key because it's something that has been very therapeutic and has helped me through that. But lowering my caffeine down to about 150 to 150 to 200 milligrams a day. That's where I've been the last 3 months, and it's been great. It's really, really helped. It's just enough to wake me up and to keep me functional so that I can still have the benefits of caffeine. And that's basically like 2 cups of coffee is kind of what I'm averaging now. Just nothing overboard. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. No, and I think for me one of the biggest things too was the ritual behind it. It was my cup of coffee that I would have before my kids would wake up. I could, journal, read my Bible, think about things and just have time to myself with a warm cup of coffee. And so getting rid of that and it wasn't just getting rid of caffeine, it was getting rid of a ritual that was also something that refueled me as well. And so
that makes a lot of sense now too.
Yeah. And the problem is though, I would wake up first thing in the morning and have the cup of coffee instead of, getting up and moving my body and getting up and hydrating, which I think was definitely causes for messing up my stomach as well, or my gut rather. And so it was really nice. Like I had the cup of coffee this morning, and it was before anybody woke up. And it was just a little bit, like you said, I'm not having very much. I tried to make it as clean as possible. And it was like bringing back a little ritual for me that is very refueling. So.
And I have a little bit of experience with caffeine as well. I used to play rugby. I don't know if you guys know what rugby is.
That's Ireland's sport. That's not really our thing over here. But it is hardcore, man. No respect for you for playing rugby, man.
I used to play rugby, and it was a really, really violent sport, like really, really violent. Like you're talking about big, massive guys like killing each other on the pitch. But we used to have like a lot of caffeine before we went out on that pitch. And when I say my aggression was up here, it was up to here. Like I would have ran through a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how bad it was. And what made it even worse is we used to play games around 6 p.m. I could go out at nighttime. I could go out straight after that game into a club, and I could start a fight with about 20 people, and I would win no problem. Because I'd be mentally ready to kill someone. That's how bad it was.
Jeez. Wow. Okay. So moral of the story is if you and I ever get in a fight, I got to make sure I got guns and make sure they're loaded because I'm getting kicked.
And you have to make sure Mark has not had his coffee.
Yeah. Let's just all quit caffeine and we won't have a problem.
Exactly.
That was a long time ago. Don't worry, I'm okay now. Long time ago. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, cool. Yeah, as we get closer and closer to the show, knowing that you're going to be over, knowing that you're going to fly over here, I'm going to make sure that I like strategically slowly take caffeine out, like just to make sure of your meal plan. Cool. Well, is there anything else, Jordan, that you wanted to ask Mark while he's here? I think we've definitely covered a lot. I got pages and notes.
Now, I know that, like, Mark, you've helped a lot of women. This is one last thing, and then I won't take up too much of your time. I know that you have, help women a lot with like hormonal type stuff, and am having a weird side effect. My hair is falling out. But I don't think that's from anything Colt's doing or workout related. I think it's coming out of like a stressful event, but I don't know if you have had any of your clients go through like a similar type of situation.
Yeah, I've had a few girls that would go through amnesia that's where they're losing their hair.
Mm.
So that could be it depends on what your diagnosis is. I'd have to know more. If it's just a little bit here and there, then it's probably nothing to worry about. But if it's like big lumps, then that would probably tell me that you probably have amnesia.
Amnesia? Wow.
What would
Now
what would be the cause of that, Mark?
Yeah.
that's just down to poor diet.
Wow.
That's all that is. It's all down to poor diet, poor lifestyle habits as well.
What specifically would it be? An overconsumption of carbs, protein, just
Yeah, like sugars and processed foods, and it can come down to many factors. I mean, when it comes to amnesia, it's kind of an hereditary kind of medical condition, but it can be overturned. It can be definitely overturned with a few things fixing here and there. But with amnesia, you can literally pull it out of your head, like the big lumps of hair coming out of your head. That's how bad it is. I
No,
mean,
it's more, yeah. It's not
I've had
that. Sorry.
go ahead,
You go ahead.
go ahead.
It's reminded me of whenever after having my babies, that when at the 4 month marker, right after they're 4 months old, with every child, I would lose, and I have friends who go the same thing. They start their hair, it's like it starts shedding.
Mhm.
So it's been more reminiscent of that than like me like pulling out chunks at a time. It's more like my hair is just shedding a lot.
Mm.
But it's my hair. I mean, I don't normally shed this much, so it was just something I didn't know if maybe with all these diet changes that I've been doing, if maybe it is affecting my hormones, which is why my hair is shedding more than normal, or
Honestly, it could be many factors. It could be your hormones, it could be your menstrual cycle, it could be your age. Honestly, it could be anything.
yeah,
But if you're losing a lot of hair, then I would definitely get a diagnosis from your doctor and see what like, do you have any rare condition? But if it's only a little bit here and there, then it's probably, as I said, it could be a number of things, as I said. And if it is, then it's just part of life, really. And
yeah,
especially like most of the time, like women do lose their hair as they age, unfortunately.
right,
That's one thing women don't like, is when they age, their hair changes color. You will lose a bit of hair here and there, but it's just
Mhm.
part of life.
yeah,
Something that we'll need to keep a close eye on is let me know if you experience any more hair loss, Jordan, because Taylor did experience significant hair loss after being in ketosis for an extended period of time, which is typical of ladies that are on a ketogenic diet long term. Men don't
gotcha.
have to deal with this kind of stuff, and it's totally not fair. But
Okay.
um, but if that happens, Mark, do you think that a reasonable thing to do at that point would be not to reintroduce carbs, but to do what you do with your clients, which is like a weekly protein refeed, knock her out of ketosis, and so maybe she'll have a day where she does eat like 200 grams of protein, but it's just one day of the week.
Well, if there's anything affecting your health and is affecting your look, it's not worth being on a particular diet. So if you're on a ketogenic diet at the moment, but you're losing your hair, and that's the cause of it, well, then obviously there needs to be a few tweaks here and there, because it's not worth you going on a diet for 6 months to a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that's what it is. But if it was, then I would definitely 100% change a few things.
Yeah, and I was just saying that because since she's going keto now, and she's probably going to be in ketosis for a while, that if you do have more hair loss, Jordan, that's something to keep in the back of your mind and let us know right away. And then that means that we'll either do I would say at that point we're getting ahead of ourselves, but Mark and I were just talking about protein refeeds yesterday, and so I think that doing that once a week would help, because what fixed it for Taylor was when we did a month straight of high protein carnivore. But
yeah,
I wouldn't recommend that anybody do that again, because that's quite an extended period of time to be out of ketosis and to deal with all the inflammation that you're going to have as a result. So,
Right.
so maybe once a week we would try that. That would be plan A, and then plan B would be going more paleo.
Yeah,
in that
Definitely.
direction.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. This is fun.
Yeah, you bet.
I just love talking to both of you. I mean, I can our listeners are like, wow, they've touched on quite a few subjects so far. Yeah, no, I mean, like, just I love talking to you guys. I really, really do.
Oh my gosh, I've written like so many notes down from this whole conversation, so it's been awesome.
Good. I'm gonna
I've
put all the
learned
notes
so
in.
much.
I'm gonna put all the notes in the timestamps too, so you're gonna have double notes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Cool. Well, appreciate both of you guys so much. Mark, looks like you. We're going to take a look at your plan now too, and do your check-in. So, Jordan, I'm going to shoot you an email with the revisions that we talked about. Hopefully today, if I can get to it. If not, tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Shoot me a text, please, of those foods that we were going back and forth on Marco Polo, and so that we'll make those are added to your meal plan. Other than that, I think it's a wrap.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all your help. It's so good to talk to you, Mark.
You too, Jordan. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this entire episode. If you found this helpful or entertaining, as always, shoot this over to a friend, either someone that's looking to build lean muscle, keep the fat gain to a minimum, or just anybody that could resonate with Jordan's story. Share it with a friend, okay? That's all we're asking. And thanks for helping the growth of the channel organically, trying to keep it that way. On that topic, review of the week is from YouTube. So thank you very much, Mark, for posting this one day ago. This is our most recent comment. So he said, Trevor owns my home gym. Great man, loves the Lord, and he has really inspired me. And so that was a comment off of our interview with Trevor Griffiths. And yeah, absolutely to everything that you just said, bro. Thank you very much for that. Every single comment, every single subscription, they really help the algorithms, guys. And you can leave reviews on Spotify, on iTunes, and on YouTube. Those are kind of the three that we're focusing on the most right now. And so appreciate all the help and support there. God bless you. God bless your gains. Oh, yeah. And Mr. Mark, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and informing me of your shipping address and your t-shirt size, please. Get one of those over to you. It's going to say supersetyourlife.com on the back, Skullbellz on the front. It's pretty dope. I think you'll love it. Catch everybody on the next episode. Bye-bye.